We were so grateful for the opportunity to make another one. You know, the success of the first one inspired the studio to let us make another one. And it's fun because, you know, Through the Looking Glass was already existing. So we had a place to jump into a story from. It picks up a little bit after the first film. Alice has been off captaining her ship on adventures, and sort of we pick her up, you know, at the end of those adventures as she's returning back to London. Sasha plays the character of Time, and he's in charge of all time, and he becomes a pivotal character in the movie, and the movie really does become about not wasting time and sort of the value of time and what you can change in time and what you can't, and he's just so much fun to watch. It's really, he was such a great added element for the sequel. We were very lucky to get him.
Talking about fun, obviously Johnny is a delight on screen. We get to see a bit of a different side of the Hatter this time, I think.
We do. We learn more about the Hatter. We learn more about his history and his family and his relationship with Alice. And this is just a delight to watch Johnny play this character.
Of course, Mia as Alice, was it important for you to have her as a very strong role model, particularly for a young female audience?
It was. You know, that's the difference between that and the books, is that, you know, Linda, our screenwriter, had come to us early for the first movie to make her, you know, more of an adult character. And you know, but still represent, you know, what she was in the books. And so we love that she's this sort of out-of-the-box modern woman in a pre-modern world, you know.
And of course, Tim put such a visual stamp on the first film. What was it like having James come on board and kind of continue and develop that world?
It was great. I mean, James had big shoes to fill. Obviously, it's hard after you've done world creation with Tim. But the world, Wonderland looks amazing, and it is different, and it really has James's stamp on it. And it's still very beautiful.
Are there particular things that we get to see in this film that you think fans will be especially blown away by visually?
Well, I think, you know, you can see this movie in 3D and in IMAX. And really just, I think, in the 6 years of technology, the world just looks that much cooler. And, you know, and like I said, there's just awesome stuff in it, but you have to go see it.
Is this the last time we're going to see these characters together, or do you feel there are more stories that could be told?
I think there's more stories that could be told, but it will be up to the powers that be if we get to make any more of them. But I think it would be fun.
Well, the tone of this second film is a little bit different. You know, it's meant to be a little lighter, and it's funny, and yet on the other hand, this film is very emotional. I think that people will see it and feel like it's a nice extension of the first film. It's everything that Tim created, and then we've kind of gone another step with it. Well, so obviously Sacha Baron Cohen is the new character of Time, and he controls time. And, you know, time is the one thing none of us can buy any more of or have any more of, so it's very precious, and the movie takes a look at that. And then, you know, we also get lovely Rhys Ifans as Hatter's father, and that's a really interesting new character, and you'll get to dig very deep into the relationship between Hatter and his father, again, in a way I think people will find very emotional.
Johnny was fantastic in the first one, but there's a real sense that we see a completely different side of the Hatter this time.
Well, there really is, isn't it? And I was saying, you know, it had been so many years between the first two films, and the first day that Johnny was on set, and he was, you know, in the hair and the makeup and the contact lenses and everything, and I kind of got a little tear in my eye, because it's like seeing an old friend again in the nicest way. And Johnny is just so good at bringing vulnerability to the Hatter. I mean, it's an amazing thing that he does through all of that, you know, mess that we put on him. But I think people will be surprised at the relationship with Alice and the Hatter in this, and really how deep we're able to go. But that's the nice thing about a sequel also, is things you couldn't really take on in the first one, we can go deeper in this one, and I hope people enjoy it.
Particularly with the character of Alice, was it important that, I mean, in the book she's quite a passive figure, but in the film she feels a lot more of a kind of an inspiring, sort of an action figure?
Right. Well, I don't know if you've met Mia, but Mia is quite an inspirational girl. I myself have a daughter, and a lot of us, you know, women in Hollywood, we're very interested in making a movie that will speak to young girls and women and men as well, about that idea of girls really trying to stand in their own light, stand in their own power, and really take advantage of what's available to them in their lives and not feel limited.
Tim was so instrumental in defining the visual world in the first film. How important was it to have him back as an exec producer, and what do you think James has added to that as a new director?
Well, we really have everything from the first movie, right? The way Underland looks and the characters and the genius casting. So it's really being able to take the best of everything that Tim did and then just add some new fun things in the mix. And then, you know, sometimes in a scene when we would run out of characters, we would go back to the closet and pull out like the rocking horse flies or some monkeys we'd had from the first movie, because it's easier than making a new character. And those are all genius because Tim made them. I talked to a lot of people about it, obviously, and the literature seems to mean a great different things to different people. You know, people have a different takeaway from reading it, but it certainly, in terms of creativity and inspiration, speaks to everyone. There are so many people that love it. It's been popular for 150 years, and obviously we're hoping to mine it for more movies to come.
You talk about more movies to come. Is that an active discussion that's going on at the moment?
Well, you know, anytime you're developing the script, there are always more things that you like than you can get into the 100 minutes of the movie. So there are a few things that aren't in this movie that we certainly would like to do in another one. Maybe me and I have been talking about it a little, for sure, yeah.
From a production point of view, it's such an effects-driven film. What were the biggest challenges you faced this time around?
Surviving it, really, because, you know, we shot the film in 2014, and it's not like it's been sitting on a shelf. You know, we work on it 24/7. There are over 2,200 visual effects. Each one is so incredibly difficult to finish, and just the years that it takes, literally, it's like, you know, some game of survival on a TV show. Like, making it through to the end is harder than you think. It's quite exhausting, but exhilarating when it's finished. I really hope they come away from it and that they think about in their own lives what's really important to them and what they really want. And whether it's, you know, spending that hour like surfing the internet, you know, shopping for shoes, or maybe there's a slightly better way that you want to spend some of your precious time. Next for me is a very different non-Disney movie, an R-rated comedy called Bad Moms that comes out July 29th. And it's a movie about how difficult it is to be a good mom and how hard we all try and how we sort of beat ourselves up because we think that we're failing. And it's Mila Kunis, Christina Applegate, Kristen Bell, Jada Pinkett Smith, so many funny girls, and a very raunchy R-rated look at motherhood from the two guys that wrote The Hangover, from John Lucas and Scott Moore.